What if the biggest obstacle to your growth is not failure? What if it is success? What if the thing preventing you from seeing clearly is not confusion? What if it is certainty? Imagine a founder whose company is growing faster than ever, an executive who just received a major promotion, a coach admired by thousands, a leader everyone respects. From the outside, everything looks successful, but internally, they have started believing the role is who they are, that success is who they are, that image is who they are. And Krishna says, that is where the real danger begins. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna now takes Arjuna into one of the deepest explorations of human psychology. Not the psychology of weak people, not the psychology of unsuccessful people, but the psychology of all people. Because according to Krishna, every human being is influenced by powerful forces that shape the way we think, feel, act, desire, judge, and identify ourselves. Sometimes those forces appear as ambition, sometimes as fear, sometimes as laziness, sometimes even as goodness. And Krishna makes a startling claim. The problem is not the qualities themselves. The problem is becoming lost inside them. Today we explore 3 profound verses from chapter 7 of the Bhagavad Gita, verses 12, 13, and 14. Verses that reveal why we become trapped in identities, why even virtue can become an ego trap, and why some inner battles cannot be won through willpower alone. Welcome back to Beyond the Battlefield, the podcast where we explore modern leadership, entrepreneurship, and personal growth through the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. Because the battlefield was never outside. It was always inside. Let's move to verse 12.
Whatever states arise from Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, know them all to come from me, yet I am not in them. They are in me.
Ankur. At first glance, this sounds simple. Krishna seems to be saying that all qualities originate from him, but I have a feeling there is something much deeper happening here.
Much deeper. In fact, Jessica, this may be one of the most misunderstood verses in the entire chapter. Because most people hear 3 words, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and immediately start categorizing. Sattva is good, Rajas is okay, Tamas is bad. Done. Lesson finished. But Krishna is not teaching morality here. He is teaching something far more revolutionary.
What is that?
Krishna is asking Arjuna a question. A very uncomfortable question. Who are you before all these states arise? Think about it. Sometimes your mind is calm, sometimes restless, sometimes lazy, sometimes inspired, sometimes fearful, sometimes courageous. These states keep changing. But the one who notices the change, does that also change?
That is interesting. Because when I say, I am anxious, or I am confused, or I am highly motivated, I automatically assume that is who I am.
And Krishna is beginning to separate the observer from the state. He's saying, these states are real. They exist, they arise, they disappear, but they are not your deepest identity. And this is where the 3 gun come in. Let's simplify them. Sattva brings clarity, peace, balance, wisdom. Rajas brings movement, action, ambition, desire, restlessness, and tamas brings inertia, confusion, resistance, avoidance, lethargy. Every human being experiences all three. A leader experiences all three. A founder experiences all three. A student experiences all three. A parent experiences all three.
So Krishna is not labeling people. He is describing states.
Beautifully said. States, not identities. Imagine a sales leader. One quarter he exceeds target. He says, I am unstoppable. Next quarter the market crashes. Now he says, I am failing. Nothing fundamental changed, only the numbers changed. But his identity moved with the numbers. Krishna says that is the mistake. You are confusing yourself with the scoreboard. The problem begins when we convert a temporary state into a permanent identity. I am a failure. I am lazy. I am brilliant. I am superior. Krishna says, wait, these are movements inside nature. These are waves. You are confusing yourself with the wave.
And this is where Osho introduces that fascinating metaphor from Gita Darshan. The big circle and the small circle.
Yes, I absolutely love that metaphor. Imagine a large circle, inside it a smaller circle. The smaller circle exists inside the larger one. But the larger circle cannot be contained inside the smaller one. Krishna says, nature is the small circle. The divine is the large circle. Nature exists within the divine. But the divine cannot be reduced to nature.
So when Krishna says, they are in me, but I am not in them, that is what he means?
Exactly. Everything is happening inside the larger reality. All emotions, all ambitions, all fears, all achievements, all failures. But the larger reality is not limited by any of them. And that is incredibly important for leadership. Because most leaders spend their entire lives inside the small circle.
How does that show up today?
A leader says, my title defines me, my revenue defines me, my promotion defines me, my market share defines me, my LinkedIn profile defines me. The small circle becomes everything. And eventually, they forget there is a larger circle.
Wow, that sounds like modern life.
It does. We spend years studying the bones, the metrics, the targets, the titles, the salaries, the competitors, the market, and sometimes we never look up, never ask who is living this life, who is experiencing all this, what remains if success and failure both disappear.
And then Krishna says something even more surprising. Not just that tamas can trap us, not just that rajas can trap us, but even sattva can trap us.
Yes, and this is where the verse becomes really radical. Most spiritual teachings stop at become good. Krishna goes beyond that. He says even goodness can become an attachment.
Can you explain that?
Imagine someone who becomes deeply attached to being seen as a good person, a noble person, a wise person, a spiritual person. Now a new identity is born, and the ego quietly hides inside that identity. Instead of saying, I am successful, it now says, I am virtuous. Different costume, same ego.
So Krishna is not asking Arjuna to become more sattvic. He is asking him to go beyond identification itself.
Exactly. This is the breakthrough. Krishna is not saying become a better version of your ego. He's saying discover what exists beyond the ego. Because once that is discovered, the qualities naturally find their proper place.
This feels incredibly relevant today, especially in leadership.
It is. Because modern leadership often creates identity addiction. A founder becomes addicted to growth. A manager becomes addicted to control. A consultant becomes addicted to expertise. A coach becomes addicted to wisdom. And then one day, life changes. The market changes. The role changes. The company changes. The title disappears. And suddenly the person feels lost.
Because they were living inside the small circle?
Exactly. Verse 12 is Krishna's reminder. A beautiful reminder. You are not your current state. You are not your anxiety. You are not your confidence. You are not your ambition. You are not your exhaustion. These are visitors. They arrive, they stay, they leave. But the awareness that notices them, that is closer to who you really are. And that awareness belongs to the larger circle. The circle Krishna is inviting Arjuna to discover.
And maybe that is the leadership reflection from this verse. Not to manage every passing emotion, but to stop becoming them.
Beautifully said, because the moment you stop saying, I am the wave, you finally get a chance to experience the ocean. And that is where Krishna is gently leading Arjuna. Beyond the three qualities, beyond the changing states, beyond the small circle, toward the larger reality that contains them all.
In the previous verse, Krishna gave us a powerful insight. He said, all our inner states, clarity, ambition, confusion, peace, restlessness, all arise within nature. And then he reminded us, you are not those states. You are the awareness that witnesses them. But now, Krishna takes the teaching one step further. And honestly, this next verse feels even more challenging.
Deluded by these three qualities of nature, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, the whole world fails to recognize me, who am beyond them and imperishable.
Ankur. This sounds surprising. In the last verse, Krishna spoke about the three gun. Now suddenly he says the entire world is deluded by them? How can even Sattva create delusion? Isn't Sattva supposed to be the good one?
That's exactly the trap Krishna wants to expose. Most of us divide life into simple categories: good, bad, positive, negative, spiritual, material. And naturally we assume Tamas is the problem, Rajas is manageable, Sattva is the solution. But Krishna says, not so fast. All three belong to nature, and anything that belongs to nature can become a source of attachment.
Even goodness?
Even goodness. Let me ask a dangerous question. Would you rather be right or learn something true? Many leaders choose being right, not because they are bad, because being right protects identity. Krishna says anything protecting identity can become a prison. Let's make this practical. A businessman may become attached to profit, easy to see. A politician may become attached to power, easy to see. A celebrity may become attached to fame, easy to see. But what about a person who becomes attached to being good, who becomes attached to being wise, who becomes attached to being spiritual, who becomes attached to being respected as a humble person? That attachment is harder to detect because it wears beautiful clothes.
That is fascinating, because outwardly it looks virtuous.
Exactly. And this is where Krishna becomes an extraordinary psychologist. The ego is very intelligent. If it cannot become successful, it will become spiritual. If it cannot become powerful, it will become virtuous. If it cannot become famous, it will become morally superior. The costume changes. The actor remains the same.
So Krishna is not criticizing goodness. He is warning against identification.
Beautifully said. This verse is not an attack on virtue. It is an attack on unconscious attachment. Because attachment can hide anywhere, even inside noble intentions.
That reminds me of something we see often in leadership. A leader starts with a genuine desire to help, but over time, they become attached to being the savior.
Yes, and once that happens, the ego quietly enters through the back door. The leader now needs to be needed. The mentor needs to be admired. The expert needs to be right. The coach needs to be appreciated. Externally, it still looks noble. Internally, attachment has taken over.
And Krishna says that attachment creates moh, delusion.
Yes, and notice the brilliance of the verse. Krishna doesn't say, sir, some people are deluded. He says that the whole world is deluded because everyone is hypnotized by something. Someone is hypnotized by money, someone by recognition, someone by relationships, someone by ideology, someone by success, someone by virtue. Different objects, same hypnosis.
This reminds me of a question. How do we know whether we are acting from wisdom or simply from another form of attachment?
A beautiful question. The simplest test is this. If it is taken away, what happens to you? If your title disappears, do you disappear? If your success disappears, do you disappear? If your image as a good person disappears, do you disappear? The place where suffering becomes unbearable often reveals the attachment.
That feels uncomfortably true.
Krishna is not always comfortable, but he is always compassionate because he is trying to free Arjuna. And Arjuna is doing something very interesting. He is trying to avoid the war by becoming good. He is saying, I don't want power. I don't want victory. I don't want the kingdom. On the surface, it sounds noble. It sounds spiritual. It sounds compassionate. But Krishna sees something deeper. He sees attachment hiding underneath.
Meaning Arjuna is still trapped inside the qualities, just in a more sophisticated way.
Exactly. And Krishna is saying, don't choose between better chains and worse chains. Become free. This is one of the most revolutionary ideas in the Gita. Because most systems ask, how can I become better? Krishna asks, who is the one trying to become better? Most systems focus on behavior. Krishna focuses on consciousness.
And that brings us back to the larger circle we discussed in the previous verse.
Yes, the small circle contains all the qualities. Success, failure, goodness, ambition, virtue, vice. But Krishna is pointing toward the larger circle, the awareness beyond all qualities, the presence beyond all identities, the reality beyond all labels. And he says, the world remains fascinated by the waves, so it never discovers the ocean.
That may be the leadership lesson from this verse. Not just to ask, am I succeeding? Or am I being good? But to ask, what is driving me beneath all of this?
Exactly. Because the greatest leadership trap is not failure. The greatest leadership trap is unconscious identification. You can be trapped by success. You can be trapped by failure. You can be trapped by power. You can be trapped by weakness. And Krishna says, you can even be trapped by goodness. The moment you become attached to any identity, you stop seeing what lies beyond it. And that is the delusion Krishna is inviting Arjuna to transcend.
In the previous verse, Krishna revealed something surprising. He said the world is deluded not only by desire, not only by ambition, not only by laziness, but even by goodness. Because all three gun, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas, can become forms of attachment. And when we become attached, we stop seeing what lies beyond them. So naturally, a question arises. If these forces are so powerful, how do we ever become free? And that's what we move to verse 14.
This divine Maya of mine, made of the three gunas, is difficult to cross. But those who take refuge in me alone cross beyond it.
Ankur, this feels like a very honest verse. Krishna is not pretending this is easy. He openly says, this Maya is difficult to cross.
Very difficult. And I think that honesty is beautiful. Because sometimes spiritual teachings are presented as if transformation is simple. Just think positively. Just be disciplined. Just control your mind. Just let go. Krishna doesn't say that. He says this is difficult. Because the forces you are fighting are much larger than you imagine.
What exactly is Maya here? Many people hear that word and think illusion, but that feels incomplete.
It is incomplete. Maya is not saying the world does not exist. The battlefield exists. The company exists. The family exists. The market exists. The challenges exist. Maya means mistaking the temporary for the ultimate. Mistaking the wave for the ocean. Mistaking the role for the self. Mistaking the mask for the face.
And Krishna says this Maya is made from the three gunas, the same three qualities we discussed earlier.
And now Krishna explains why they are so difficult to overcome. Because they are not outside us. They are woven into our entire psychological structure, our desires, our fears, our ambitions, our habits, our identities. Everything we call me is deeply influenced by these forces.
This reminds me of something Osho said. He expands the metaphor from the previous verse.
Yes, and it is brilliant. Imagine three circles. The largest circle is the divine. Inside it is nature. And inside nature is the individual human being. Now look at what usually happens. The smallest circle declares, I will conquer the larger circle. The ego decides, I will defeat nature. I will eliminate all fear. I will eliminate all anger. I will eliminate all attachment. It's like standing in the ocean during a storm. A huge wave is approaching, and a straw floating nearby announces, I will stop the wave. The wave doesn't even notice the straw. That is the ego trying to conquer Maya through ego. Krishna says, good luck.
That sounds harsh.
Not harsh, accurate. Because the very mind trying to solve the problem is part of the problem. The ego is trying to free itself from the ego. The conditioned mind is trying to free itself from conditioning. And that is why so many people feel exhausted.
That feels incredibly relevant today. People are constantly trying to optimize themselves.
Exactly. More productivity, more discipline, more habits, more systems, more control. And there is nothing wrong with those things. They have value. But eventually, most people discover a painful truth. You cannot solve every inner battle through willpower because some forces are bigger than willpower.
Can you give a leadership example?
Absolutely. Imagine a founder. The company is struggling. Investors are asking questions. Cash flow is tight. The team is anxious. And the founder keeps repeating, I must hold everything together. I must fix everything. I must control everything. For a while that works. Then exhaustion arrives. Then burnout arrives. Then anxiety arrives. Why? Because the ego has taken responsibility for carrying something too large for the ego to carry.
And that is what Krishna means by Maya being difficult to cross?
Yes, because the illusion feels real. The illusion says, you are alone. You must carry everything. You must control everything. You are the center of the universe. And the more we believe that story, the heavier life becomes.
Then Krishna offers the solution. And this is where many modern listeners become uncomfortable. He says, take refuge in me.
Yes, and unfortunately that phrase is often misunderstood. People hear surrender and imagine weakness, passivity, giving up, avoiding responsibility. Krishna means none of those things.
Then what does surrender actually mean?
Surrender means changing the source from which you act. Before surrender, I am doing everything. I control everything. I carry everything. After surrender, I will still act. I will still lead. I will still serve. But I no longer imagine that I am the ultimate source. I am participating in something larger than myself.
That is a huge difference.
A massive difference. Because externally, the actions may look identical. The leader still leads. The founder still builds. The parent still cares. The teacher still teaches. But internally, the burden changes. The ego is no longer carrying the entire universe on its shoulders.
This reminds me of a line we often return to on this podcast. The battlefield never disappears.
Exactly. The battlefield remains. Krishna does not remove Kurukshetra. He transforms Arjuna's relationship with it. And that is the invitation of verse 14. Not escape, not avoidance, not passivity, but participation without illusion. Action without egoic burden. Leadership without the obsession of control.
So the leadership lesson here might be, the strongest leaders are not the ones who carry everything themselves. They are the ones who learn to connect with something larger than themselves.
Beautifully said. Because the moment you believe, I alone must do this, Maya tightens its grip. And the moment you remember, I am part of something larger, space begins to appear. Clarity begins to appear. Freedom begins to appear. That is why Krishna does not simply say, fight harder. He says, come to me. Because some battles cannot be won through effort alone. Some battles are won when the small self stops pretending it is bigger than the universe and learns to trust the source from which it came.
Today, Krishna asked us 3 questions. Who are you beyond your changing states? Who are you beyond your identities? And who are you when you stop trying to carry the universe alone? Because perhaps the greatest leadership transformation is not becoming more powerful. Perhaps it is remembering that you were never the wave. You were always the ocean. And perhaps that is Krishna's deepest invitation not to become someone else, not to create another identity, not to win another battle, but to remember what has been present beneath every identity all along. If this conversation resonated with you, please share it with someone who might benefit from it. Subscribe to Beyond the Battlefield on your favorite podcast platform. And if you have reflections, questions, or experiences you'd like to share with us, write to us at beyondthebattlefield@outlook.in. You can also explore our Bhagavad Gita companion, GPT, using the link in the description. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep looking beyond the battlefield.